Coming up on 5 Minute News. Republicans request affidavit that justified search of Mar-a-Lago. Biden wins big with historic bill on drug prices and climate change. And electrical fire kills at least 41 in Egypt. It's Monday, August 15. I'm Anthony Davis. Republican lawmakers stepped up calls on Sunday for the release of an FBI affidavit showing the justification for its seizures of documents at former President Donald Trump's Mar-a-Lago home amid reports of heightened threats against federal law enforcement personnel. A search warrant released last week after the unprecedented search showed that Trump had 11 sets of classified documents at his home and that the Justice Department had probable cause to conduct the search based on possible Espionage Act violations. Republicans are calling for the disclosure of more detailed information that persuaded a federal judge to issue the search warrant, which may show sources of information and details about the nature of the documents and other classified information. The unsealing of such affidavits is highly unusual and would require approval from a federal judge. Separately on Sunday, the bipartisan Senate Intelligence Committee, led by Democrat Mark Warner and Republican Marco Rubio, asked the Justice Department and the Office of the Director of National Intelligence to provide the seized documents on a classified basis. The calls from Republicans came amid reports that the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security warned of increased threats to law enforcement emanating from social media platforms in the wake of the Mar-a-Lago search. The Democratic-led U.S. House of Representatives approved a $430 billion bill on Friday that is seen as the biggest climate package in U.S. history, delivering a major legislative victory for President Joe Biden ahead of the November 8 midterm elections. The legislation to fight climate change and lower prescription drug prices aims to cut domestic greenhouse gas emissions. It will also allow Medicare to negotiate lower drug prices for the elderly and ensure that corporations and the wealthy pay the taxes they owe. Democrats say it will help combat inflation by reducing the federal deficit. The House voted 220 to 207 along party lines to pass the measure titled the Inflation Reduction Act and send it on to Biden to sign into law. The Senate approved the legislation on Sunday after a marathon 27-hour session. Biden said he would sign the bill in the week ahead, and the White House would hold a celebration on September 6 in honor of what he said was historic legislation. Democrats hope the legislation will help them at the polls in November when voters decide the balance of power in Congress ahead of the 2024 presidential elections. Biden plans to travel across the country to tout the bill, along with a series of other legislative victories, at a time when many voters have soured on him amid soaring inflation. About half of Americans support the climate and drug pricing legislation, including 69% of Democrats and 34% of Republicans, according to a Reuters Ipsos poll conducted on August 3rd and 4th. The bill has been more than 18 months in the making. It represents a final version of Biden's original sweeping Build Back Better plan, which had to be whittled down in the face of opposition from Republicans and key legislators from his own party. An electrical fire swept through an Egyptian Coptic Christian church during Mass on Sunday, causing a stampede and killing at least 41 people, most of them children, and many suffering from smoke inhalation. The blaze started just before 9 a.m. in Abu Sifin Church in the city of Giza, where about 1,000 people had gathered. The fire blocked an entrance to the church, causing the stampede. Electrical fires are not rare in Egypt. In late 2020, a fire at a hospital treating COVID-19 patients killed at least 7 people. In a statement, the Interior Ministry said a forensic examination showed that the fire began in the second-floor air conditioning system as a result of an electrical malfunction. Smoke inhalation was the main cause of death, it said. Families of those who died will receive 100,000 Egyptian pounds, approximately $5,000, according to a cabinet statement. Giza, Egypt's second-largest city, lies just across the Nile from Cairo. A funeral was held for those killed in the fire late on Sunday at a cemetery in Giza. You can subscribe to 5 Minute News on YouTube with your preferred podcast app. Ask your smart speaker or enable 5 Minute News as your Amazon Alexa flash briefing skill. Subscribe, rate and review online at 5minute.news. 5 Minute News is an Evergreen podcast covering politics, inequality, health and climate, delivering independent, unbiased and essential world news daily.